Hello there, my amazing artists. Welcome back to Art with me, Mrs. Knowles. We're going to be making a cupcake today using a clay that's called Model Magic clay. So this is what it looks like. It's Crayola Model Magic. So if you're a student in my class, you will be getting 2 little packages of the white clay. And if you're not in my class, you can go and find it. They sell it at Target and, you know, all those places like that. All right, let's get started. All right, so here's my cute little cupcake. Very nice, right? And like I said, you're gonna need 2 packages. So I already took this clay out, and here's the other one. So what we're gonna do with these 2 is one is gonna be the top, and the other one is gonna be the bottom of the cupcake. So to make the bottom of the cupcake, let's look at the shape for just a minute. It's gonna be kind of a cylinder shape, right? Except it's gonna be a little bit wider at the top and smaller at the bottom. Okay, so what I'm gonna do first with this clay is I'm gonna mush it a little bit and I'm gonna roll it to the shape of a sphere. A sphere is a ball, right? And it doesn't have to be perfect, you're just doing your best. Okay, so now that I have a sphere, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start rolling it this way, just back and forth, and what happens is it's going to start to form kind of a cylinder shape. So roll it back and forth. Okay, so once you have it about the height that you want, put it down onto the table to give yourself a flat surface here. So you just kind of mush it a little bit. All right, then you're going to turn it. It kind of looks like a marshmallow, doesn't it? Turn it the other way. Give yourself a flat surface. You can roll it again if you need to. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna squeeze the bottom part in a little bit to make it a little bit smaller. I'm gonna press the top part, squeeze, and it should give me, yeah, it's a little bit bigger on the top than on the bottom, but basically just looks like a marshmallow. Kind of cool, right? Okay, so now that I've got that part, I'm just gonna set it to the side, and this is gonna be for the top. So you gotta think about what you want to have as the top, right? I'm gonna add some little decoration, so I'm going to take a piece off. This is gonna be for my cherry or my decoration on top. And then I also want to add some sprinkles. So I'm gonna reserve a piece that I can make sprinkles out of. So with the rest of it, I'm just gonna pinch it a little bit and I'm gonna roll a coil. Sometimes we call this a snake too, but in art we say a coil. And I'm sure you've done this before, right? Okay, and you do kind of want to get it sort of smooth. So my end is not super smooth, so I'm just gonna roll that just a little bit. Okay, so what you're gonna do with this is you are going to wind it around onto your cupcake. So I'm just gonna start like that, just kind of on the edge. And if you want, you could also kind of pinch that down and just make it more triangular shape. And then start going. Make that swirl. There we go. Now I'm not too worried about this because remember I'm gonna put something on the top. It almost looks like ice cream too, doesn't it? Okay, so now I'm gonna make a little cherry to go on top. Just like that. Now this is a great time, you could, you know, make a little hole, like a cherry has a little hole in it. You could draw little details. Okay, there we go, very nice. And you can use a pencil to add some details if you want to, some designs. I think I'm actually gonna press it into the sides to make those sort of cupcake lines, you know? Cool. All right, that's looking pretty cupcakey. Now I'm gonna use these to make the sprinkles. So I'm gonna roll this and I'm trying to make them pretty thin. So I'm gonna try and roll it as thinly as I can. Now I am gonna use a plastic knife for the next part. plastic utensils are great for when you use clay. You can use them for a lot of different things. If you're in my class, I will give you a little plastic knife so that you can use it. If you're doing this at home, you know, you could use a regular knife as long as you ask permission first, right? Okay, so I've got my plastic knife, so I'm gonna use this now to just cut these apart and make some little sprinkles. The nice thing about using Model Magic clay is that it sticks to itself. So you can add these sprinkles on and it will just stick right on there. That does mean you have to be careful though, right? Because if I put something down and I don't want it there, it's gonna be a lot harder to get it off because it just sticks. Okay, so I'm gonna put these kind of randomly on here to make it look like I just sprinkled them on. All right, so now that I have this built, what I am gonna do is let it dry. If you're in my class, then we're just gonna leave them to dry for a week. If you are not in my class, I would recommend about a week to make sure it's pretty dry. And then we're gonna come back and we're going to add some paint. So I'm gonna show you the paint part, even though my clay is not completely dry. I'm just gonna be kind of careful as I do it. We're gonna use watercolor paints for these, which actually show up pretty nicely. Okay, so I've got my water, I've got my watercolors, and I've got my paintbrush, and that's all I need. Okay, so think about what you're gonna do before you do it, right? I know that I want that to be a little cherry on top, so I'm gonna get my red. Remember, you add 1 drop of water, stir it in a circle, stir, stir, stir. You want your paint to be nice and juicy. And then just start carefully adding your paint. Now, because my clay is not all the way dry, it's gonna absorb some, but it's not, when you do this on dry clay, it's going to be a little bit more even. But that's okay, I'm dealing with it. So I'm going all the way around because this is 3-dimensional, right? It has sides, it's not just flat. Okay, so there's my cute little cherry. I'm gonna wash my paintbrush, wash, wash, wash. And I'm going to make a little brown stem, I think. So add some water, stir, stir, stir. Ooh, this is a little tiny part. It's a bit tricky to paint. It looks good. Okay, I'm gonna keep adding some paint and you can see what I do. All right, my cupcake is very wet, but I wanted to show you the very bottom of this is a great place to write your name. So just using a Sharpie, you can just carefully write it on there. And there we go. I'm gonna leave my cupcake to dry and it is finished. All right, I hope you guys have fun making your Model Magic cupcakes and I can't wait to see what you make. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.